The 2025 WWE Royal Rumble takes place on February the 1st in Indianapolis, Indiana, and WWE released the official poster for that PLE this week, and it has people talking, making some early predictions. Who's going to win each of these Royal Rumble matches? Well, there are some interesting possibilities, and I'm going to focus on the men's Rumble match because I did do a Twitter thread on this discussing the potential options and who could be the favorites leading into the 2025 men's Royal Rumble. And I did mention Twitter. Of course, you guys know I am on Twitter now. Follow me there. I'm getting a little bit more active there at WrestleBlake. Check out the link in the description below. Appreciate a lot of you guys following on there, already interacting with you, having some fun conversations. So, be sure to follow me on there. And again, I appreciate your support of the channel. But let's talk about these potential options. I said that the poster has been released. And well, if you just want to go by the poster, you got some pretty good options to work with if you want to pick one of these people on the poster for the men's match, because there is Roman Reigns on there. There is Cody Rhodes on there. There is CM Punk. And I think what's interesting about this is Cody Rhodes, if we kind of go with him, and I don't have him on my list of the 5 options, but you can't deny that there could be a story to tell there. If Cody were to lose the championship before we get to the Royal Rumble, then what? Cody can go for a 3rd straight Rumble victory, do something that's never been done before, and I think that is a story that WWE could tell should he not be the champion heading into the Royal Rumble. Do I think he's going to win it? I'm not sure about that, but I do think that could be an interesting story and one of the many stories they could have here as we head into Royal Rumble season next year. But it all depends on whether Cody loses the title. If Cody keeps the title, well, there are some interesting choices. And of course, it's not just about who could face Cody, it's who could face the world champion as well, which could be still Gunther at that time, could be someone else. We just don't know because we are 4 months away. But let's look at some interesting options, and we're going to run through these 1 through 5. Let's start with the final boss. Yes, we have to throw The Rock in here because it's The Rock, and he's someone who we know is standing right there waiting and waiting for the return. By the time you watch this, The Rock may have already returned because people seem to think that there's a possibility that he could return at Bad Blood. If he does, well, that could make this option even more interesting because when you look at it from The Rock's standpoint, well, if you're still going to do Rock versus Cody, which we know has to still be a potential option because of everything they've done to lead us in that direction, well, listen, The Rock winning the Royal Rumble and maybe even coming in at number 30 and puffing up his power as the person who's the final boss, a TKO member, and all this. He can do whatever he wants. And The Rock puts himself in an advantageous position to win the Rumble, and he goes, full heel even more by stealing the spotlight from what would have been maybe another deserving superstar who should have won this Rumble. That's one way you could do it, right? Certainly a possibility. But the thing is, The Rock doesn't need to win the Rumble. He's The Rock. He's the final boss, and he is a TKO member, just as we just said. He can pretty much put himself right into the main event, and I think that would also add to the hatred for the final boss, and it would show yet again that he's willing to flex his power to get whatever he wants. So I don't really think there's any reason for The Rock to win the Rumble unless there is a different story they're trying to tell, because Rock can still main event WrestleMania 41 and not need to win the Rumble to do it. So yet we still have to put The Rock as one of the potential options. Another option is, the person that was also, on the poster here, Roman Reigns. We mentioned him a second ago, and if you look at Roman Reigns, yes, you could certainly see, think about it. The first time Reigns has been in the Rumble in a while because he's been the champion for quite a bit, but now it's a different scenario for Roman. He will not be the champion heading into the Royal Rumble. Seems very unlikely that will happen. Even if they do the Cody versus Reigns rematch, you've got to think Cody is going to retain the title. So I'm not sure that Roman is in a position necessarily to go into the Rumble as a champion, and I think that certainly leaves him as one of the top options heading into the Rumble match because, again, we talk about all the possibilities for what they could do at WrestleMania 41. We've mentioned the different combinations we did in the video earlier this week. Potential triple threat, potential one-on-one with The Rock, potential one-on-one with Cody as one part of a main event, perhaps. There's different scenarios for Roman Reigns. Could you do something, that has nothing to do with the championship? Maybe there's something more with the bloodline, Jacob Fatu. There are lots of options, it seems like, for the original Tribal Chief here. So how does the Rumble win maybe play into that? We don't yet know, but I at least think it's interesting, and you have to put Roman as one of the top potential options to win the match because he will go into this match, I think, as one of the favorites, and depending on the story they're trying to tell, is this the path that he has to get to a World Championship match at WrestleMania 41? Because if they were to go ahead and do Roman versus Cody Part 3 and Roman loses that match, this may be his only chance to get another opportunity, which could come via a triple threat match. Or, like I said, who knows? Could The Rock win the belt from Cody by that point? There are lots of different options that I know people are exploring here, but I think Roman certainly has to be on this list of the top 5 potential winners for the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble. Another guy that has to be on there, and this is really all be about timing, because when do they get this feud going? That's the question now, because we don't really know. And like I said, by the time you watch this, we may know. Perhaps something happens at Bad Blood, and you know exactly where this person stands. Of course, we're talking about none other than the Viper, Randy Orton, who has been teasing the tension with Cody Rhodes for a while now. And this is, of course, the perfect visual as you look at this memorable moment they had on SmackDown a while back, where Cody is sitting there, Orton is sitting there, and the championship is right between them. And we know what that means. Triple H likes the foreshadowing, and this was certainly one of those moments that gives you a great idea of where we're headed. It's a matter of when are we going to get there? And I think that's the question now, is how quickly do we get to Cody versus Randy Orton? If we don't get to it very quickly now, then you would think that Randy Orton winning a third Royal Rumble to one-up Cody, who just won his second Royal Rumble, would be an interesting way to do it. If you have Orton win the Rumble and then go on to potentially face Cody at WrestleMania 41 if they decide to do Roman versus The Rock. That is also a possibility that we know is probably in play as one of the potential options. So I think Orton has got to be on this list because he is someone that you fully expect to have one big opportunity here against Cody Rhodes. It's just a matter of the timing, which it seems like they're speeding that up a little bit. Maybe that comes sooner than we think. But if they do decide to hold off on Cody and Orton, hey, maybe they could have the match at the Royal Rumble. Or maybe that's one that they could save to WrestleMania 41 if they do go with Roman Reigns versus The Rock as the Night 2 main event. So that is certainly, again, another possibility you could have here. But I'll be honest with you. I think there are two options to me that are more fascinating than any of the others. And I think it's all about the story they're trying to tell and really thinking just kind of deep into the psyche maybe of the way WWE books right now and maybe Triple H is thinking. One of them, of course, I think has to be the person who came up just short last year in the 2024 Royal Rumble, and we're talking about CM Punk, because CM Punk is about to go into this big, heated third match with Drew McIntyre. If you're watching this weeks after the fact, you probably already know who won that match. I tend to think it's going to be someone like CM Punk, who is getting back into the world title picture. But even if Drew McIntyre were to win this, let's play both sides here in case there are people watching after and McIntyre wins, well, then I think you're looking at a scenario where you're still eventually going to get CM Punk into the world title picture. And I think it's something where Punk, came back last year at Survivor Series, and he comes into the Royal Rumble, all the momentum, people thinking he's one of the top options to win. It was down to him and Cody just barely got him, right? But if you want to tell that story of this is where things kind of went off course for Punk, he got injured, it derailed everything. 1 year later, he gets the opportunity to triumph, maybe win the Royal Rumble, and then go on to face the world champion at WrestleMania, which by that point, is it still Gunther? Or could they do the match that they wanted to do last year, which was CM Punk versus Seth Rollins? We have to get to that at some point. And so, do they decide to now shift that to WrestleMania 41 when we know that the plan all along was to do that at WrestleMania 40 before the injury? So I think that's something we have to consider, and that would be one way to do it, right? To get Punk into that world title picture and to have him challenge for the championship at WrestleMania 41, potentially against a Seth Rollins. I don't think Punk and Gunther is the match at WrestleMania 41 because I think if it's the scenario is that Gunther is still the world champion, and as we said, Triple H likes his long title reigns, especially when it comes to Gunther. If Gunther is still the world champion heading into WrestleMania 41, I think that the best option, potentially, to face Gunther in that title match at WrestleMania 41 is none other than the man who's going to be retiring next year, and that is, of course, John Cena. We know 2025 is the year of the John Cena retirement tour, and if it is a scenario where you have John Cena starting off the year Raw on Netflix, and Cena declares that he's entering the Royal Rumble, and he's going to try to win it to get his one final shot at winning that record 17th World Championship. And you're telling me you wouldn't love the idea of having Gunther as the person who is opposing John Cena? Think about the differences, right? John Cena represented everything about sports entertainment for the longest time. He was the face of sports entertainment in WWE. And now you've got the man who is trying to bring prestige back to this great sport. Gunther, one-on-one, Cena's last chance. Gunther is the person who is opposing him, and Cena somehow has to find a way to beat Gunther to try to win that world championship and break the record of Ric Flair and win the 17th world title. I think that is a fascinating setup heading into WrestleMania 41, if that is something that they believe is in the works, or if you want to play this another way, is Cena winning not good? Because if you go ahead and do the big world title match at WrestleMania 41, you maybe, are giving up the idea that you could drag this thing out even longer. Because remember, Cena's not retiring at WrestleMania 41. He's going to be, going throughout the entire year. Do you want to build that up throughout the year? And then later next year in 2025, you decide to do the thing where this is Cena's last chance, right? Maybe it's his last match. He gets the opportunity to win the championship. Could that be something? But remember, he's not retiring at WrestleMania 41. It will be his last WrestleMania, which I think makes maybe even more of a reason why you would want to do a big match like that for Cena. But the thing is, like I said, you could drag this out and build the suspense for months and months and months until you get to that, next October, next November, next December, whatever you decide to do it. Maybe it's SummerSlam, next August. That's always a possibility. But you're also doing what? You're risking the possibility that you don't ever get there because of an injury or something like that. So I think it's an interesting idea to capitalize on it. This is the last chance for John Cena. And look, it's the Royal Rumble. I know you can say, well, Cena's a part-timer and all this other stuff. He shouldn't be winning the Rumble. I get it. But I also think for the story, it would be interesting to come out of it knowing that John Cena has won the Royal Rumble and then gets his opportunity. Then you talk about the suspense building after February the 1st until we get to the 1st of April. 2 months. We know that Cena's big match, his last opportunity. Think about everything that WWE could do with that on the weekly television with segments and videos and everything talking about the importance of this one final match for John Cena in terms of at WrestleMania and to get a world title shot. I think that's a very fascinating idea. I don't know if that's the one they go with because, again, I think there is the option of dragging this out much further than WrestleMania 41 to have him, have a chance at that record championship. But I think Cena is one of the best options on the board in terms of winning the 2025 Royal Rumble. But I think all 5 of these that we mentioned are really good options if the timing and story is right heading into next February. But we got a long way to go to get there, and so we will know much better, I think, not just after Bad Blood, but after Survivor Series. We'll have a pretty clear direction, I think, of the possibilities of who will win the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble match, and there could be other people as well that we're not even mentioning. If Gunther's not a world champion, could Gunther be in line to win the Rumble? Could Braun Breaker get that one big final sort of moment here in terms of to really send him rocketing into the main event scene? After being the Intercontinental Champion. Could that be a possibility? Could there be someone else that we're not even thinking of that has a chance to win the Royal Rumble? There are a lot of interesting possibilities when it comes to who could win the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble. But I don't know what you guys think. Give me your early predictions. I know it's 4 months away, but this is what we do. We like to have fun, think about all these different options for what could happen. So you guys let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments. And as always, appreciate your kind words and feedback. Be sure to subscribe button, hit the like button on your way out. Again, follow me on Twitter at WrestleBlake. Click on that link down there in the description and comment below. But let me know your thoughts. What are your early predictions for the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble?